Okay, this is a new mic. You know what the funny thing about this is? Well, I actually did a recording of a few things already, but what happened earlier, and I had to share this before we get into the update. Now, what happened, and if you're wondering why this sounds different from my other mic, this is my PS4 mic that I'm using. It's a Turtle Beach Stream mic. So this is the mic I use for my PS4 Let's Plays, and I just heard the sound, the feedback from it, and it sounds kind of weird, but it basically is what it is. So you're probably wondering what happened to my old mic. Well, you see, um, my Snowball mic, strangely, I think it gave up the ghost. I don't know how, but it just gave up the ghost. Now, maybe it wasn't fully plugged in. I wouldn't know, and if it wasn't, I can't tell you. But what happened earlier was I was doing some parts of Phoenix Wright, and where I am right now, I am in the final part of the trial of Turnabout Samurai. So what happened was, and I'm doing this as we speak, making sure that if the mic did give out, it had a good run. But this is my PS4 mic that I'm using for this strange case of events. And as I said before, I was recording these parts earlier. I think I'm just gonna keep them in because I feel like wanting to re-record everything, that all the progress that I did, and even though it's there, I don't really want to have to re-record just to get voice. And plus, I don't know how it's gonna turn out when I actually continue the Let's Play. I'm actually gonna try something else and see if it's gonna change anything. If it's a little more clear and coherent, we'll just continue with that. But for now, I just kind of folded up the old one that I use for my other Let's Plays, my Snowball mic. So yeah, I'm using my PS4 mic. And now on with the update of sorts. So welcome to the May update. And I did this earlier, and for what it was worth, I had a lot to say. But I'm gonna say it again because for the benefit of viewers, this is your first time hearing this. But for me, this is my second time recording this. So we are well halfway in May, and as you very well may know, so comes the Kamikame. Now, for those who don't know what Kamikame is on my channel, it is basically comic and anime put together. Because I feel during the summer, that's what it's always going to be about, because it originally started in May because of Free Comic Book Day. If you ever heard that, if you have a comic shop and they offer Free Comic Book Day, go there. So it happened in my neck of the woods, but I had to go to Gardena, to where there was a comic shop called Jeffrey's Comics, and it was right across from El Camino College, but I don't think it's in business anymore. Probably moved elsewhere. So the idea of it was the fact of me saying that there's a lot of games that are based off of comic books and anime. So I decided, you know what? Why don't I dedicate the entire summer to that alone? And apparently the turnout was pretty good. You know, people have been wowed by the many different features that I've been showing on my channel since. So it has been, something different. It brings something flavorful to the table, and it's not just a standard Let's Play, but it's more like event-wise. It is what it is. And I've been doing it for quite some time, and since I have been doing it, I am going to continue the madness. I've been continuing the madness from here on with different types of names for it and whatnot, just like with March of the Super Robots. It's gonna be the same thing. So, with June coming in, well, I think it's safe to say that we can talk about what you'll be seeing in June. And hopefully, by the time everything should be fixed, I'm going to basically put this mic on double duty because it is my PS4 stream mic as well. It is my PS4 stream mic as well. My sub mic or my main mic. I'm not entirely certain, but it is definitely going to be my mic for most of my Let's Plays. Mainly, this is what I use for my PS4 Let's Plays, and it does pretty well despite how much time and effort I did putting this bad boy together. Anyway, moving on. Now, what will this year entail? Well, let me tell you, since it never came out on the first time, I'm going to share it with you the second time, which is the first time for you, second time for me. Now, I have been playing games for a while, and like I said, one that I'm revisiting, as I like to call it, the Phoenix Wright trilogy. Since it started in 2014 on the DS, this version of Phoenix Wright, being done in high definition, has all the cases. That means all 15 cases from the original trilogy from the DS is all there. It's fixed, and therefore, from what most people have been doing, they've been streaming it. I have not done streaming. I have recorded them. So actually, the only parts so far that I feel did not pick up my voice were 9 and 10. So therefore, all you're going to hear when we get to 9 and 10 is just the music. That's all you're going to hear. You're just going to hear the music, sound effects. You're not going to hear my voice on it. But continuing on, hopefully, and hopefully with the audio feedback, it don't sound like it's something else. But like I said, I don't know, maybe for my voice projects, it might help me because Turtle Beach might sound a lot different than a Blue Snowball. But that's just me. But anyway, aside from Phoenix Wright, which is now an anime, thanks to the DS version of it. It's been an anime, a movie. It's been a game turned into anime, then movie. It now has a second season, and to be honest, I have not seen the anime yet. But rest assured, by the time I'm actually done with, I'd say the first game. By the time I'd be done with the first game, I'd be halfway into the second game, or just starting with the second game. It'll be around like June when I post the parts of Phoenix Wright up. So therefore, what I'm going to call it is Phoenix Wright Revisited. So it's going to be Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Revisited. Same thing with Justice for All and Trials and Tribulations. I'll call them Phoenix Wright JF JFA revisited, Phoenix Wright TNT revisited. So you know, it's a trilogy compared to the original, which had only 19 of the cases instead of the 20. I mean, not 19, 15, 15 of the cases. I'm thinking about Apollo Justice. That'd be extra five, so that'd be 20 cases. But no, it's just going to be the original trilogy remastered in high definition. Aside from that, like I said, I've been doing a lot of voice projects. Excuse me, voice projects. I've been doing a lot of voice projects for quite some time since say last year. It might have been last year. Yeah, I think it might have been since last year. A lot of them have been auditions for, say, a lot of indie projects. I don't know what they are, but pretty much I know what I've been doing, and I got like a folder full of, say, a lot of these parts that I have been doing. Most of them are in MP4 format and not MP3. Until recently, I can convert all these into MP4 into MP3 format. Oh hey, yay! Anyway, I've been doing quite a bit of that though, and as you can tell from the picture, yes, this is how my life has actually been like since 2018. Well, since you guys know me, I don't take shit from none. So like, I said I can only tolerate, but let me tell you, I can only tolerate so much until I say, you know what, I'm pulling out the sword. You know what to do. Anyway, aside from that, that's what I've been doing throughout most 2018 up until what happened to me in 2018. Up until now, really, I've been doing a lot of voice projects, a lot of auditions, most in which are just up there, but not in there. They're just up there. I'm in the running for two, from what I've been told. One is a text to speech project, something like a translation. But for the most part, the only issue I've actually had was probably with my mic. Because as you can tell, it's not my room, it's more of the mic, because I think my mic was just too, say, powerful for its own good, as far as me trying to basically make out my lines right. And for what it was worth, it picked up everything. And not just my voice, it just picked up everything. Everything around me. You ask my friends. They know this mic is very powerful. And like I said, I had this track all laid out to where, for some reason, when I did the other two parts of the Case 3 Turnabout Samurai on the revisited version of Ace Attorney, the funny thing was, at the very last part with D. Vasquez showing off the Mafia, I actually farted. It's like, when you get so scared, the only kind of response is a fart. I really wish my mic picked up on that. I can say this now because it really was funny as all hell. It's just like, That's all you heard. Just oh, okay. Oh man, that was just too funny. Oh well. I don't feel like wanting to do that voice again. But if I do that voice again, and mind you, D. Vasquez's voice sounds like this. Very soft, very almost Spanish. And when she talks, it sounds like this, with part lisp. But she talks very sultry, very sultry. So she will sound like this. So therefore, if I'm talking to you, you better listen and listen good. No, seriously, that's how I pretty much pictured her. Like she is very powerful. She is very sultry, but she is very powerful. She is basically like the kind of woman you do not want to mess with. It's like she's that powerful, and she will use her feminine wiles just to basically say, "Come," and you come in both ways. Anyway, the second time I'm doing this, it's even funnier than the first time. Let me tell you. So most of the voices and most of everything I pretty much will be saying on this version will be like his Japanese name, which is like instead of me saying the Still Samurai, I could still say the Still Samurai, but I'm more likely saying Tono Sonan, which is his name in Japanese. And the last thing I said, which I remember when we got to the Still Samurai, is for great justice. So yeah, we did. Yeah, so the entire time is me, and the only time she would. Cause think about it, she's she's a spirit, so she can draw any kind of voice she wanted to. So therefore, it's like, hello, Phoenix. Are you ready to do this? If we're going to do this, we're going to do this for great justice. That sort of thing. Like it's like, how the hell did you do that, man? I'm dead. Remember, I can draw upon the powers of any spirit I damn well want to. Yes, ma'am. Okay, Chief. So it's a little bit funnier this time around. And like I said, I'm doing all the voices, so I have to rethink of all the voices, but do it a kind of bit more funnier the first time. So it's like, oh, the bag. Oh, you whippersnapper. How dare you walk across me like that? Don't you dare touch my donuts if you know what's good for you. Who wanted to touch my donuts? It's basically like that. It's a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit more funnier this time around, especially this version is probably twice as funnier than the last one, because then you got April, May, June, July, August, September, November. As I said, April all the way through the year. It's, oh, how you doing? Like, kind of give her a Harley Quinn kind of like voice, and then at the same time still keep the same joke with the oink in high definition. Like I said, everything is just a little bit more funnier the second time around because you tend to find the humor even in the most dire and strangest of situations. But aside from that, no, really, it has been a wild ride with this Let's Play. Along with as long as the rest of my Let's Plays, they were really just enjoyable to do. So, for what it's worth, I mean, it's just wow. So, like I said, I've been doing a lot of voice projects aside from my Let's Plays. And most of what I've been doing recently have been like what I like to call pinch assignments, because some of them would take a night to do. So most likely when I do my sessions, they're usually like around 4. I take an hour with my teacher. She runs me down the roll, and then after that she said when I would need to turn this in. And they're usually like, I'm just taking you through this. It usually takes me about, to get it the first time, I usually have to remember how I did the first time. And when I read it, I had to do it in the same type I was doing it the first time I did it with my teacher. And at the same time that I'm doing this, it's like I have to basically make sure I read it word for word. It's kind of like doing a let's play, but it's more like you are and you aren't. So it's like this. When I'm in character, I tend to know how to read, because you're reading in character is totally different than reading. So I don't mind reading it as I am, but also just putting a little character into it. It just makes it even more entertaining to listen to. And speaking of which, I also have something to share, because I only shared this with a few of my friends, but I have not shared it with you. So I'm going to play this right now, and you'll hear my voice in 2 minutes. So enjoy.
I was on the verge of giving up when I met Rocky. He is simple. He is illogical. He is the best being I've ever known. I can't do this. I can't be what he wants me to be. Stand still. I'm just trying to clean it. Fine. Get gangrene then. Die from your wound. Is that what you want? Okay. They killed my father for this. They killed your master. And they took my mother. And the one thing they all want is this. So, this is the one thing we're not going to give them. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get it to the king, or we're going to die trying. And they can send whoever they damn well want, because none of them are going to catch us. Day 3, 7 after the crash. The only way I've been able to feed myself is by hunting wild granola bars. Yes, these creatures provide sustenance, but very little flavor. I've dubbed this wilderness the Blandlands. Take this turd, for instance. Not only does this have the texture of tar, but I really can't stand the screaming while I eat it. Commander Browning, point the E into the wind and get those planes in the air. Those planes come home and land on the deck, not in the ocean. Radio pilots for action.
So yeah, that was something that my teacher put together, because I had to pick three of my best that I've actually ever done for the demo reel. That was the demo reel you just heard not too long ago, for about 2 minutes. That's how long it has really been. But since I have been really, really busy, not because of voice acting, but in other means, I've been out and about, going through wellness courses, catching up with my therapy appointments, and at the same time helping out with the house, making sure everything is well on the up and up, making sure whatever files are needed, we have them, and just get everything straightened out. Just because it's just been very, 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 very hectic. But that's besides the point. As you can tell, I have been really extremely busy. Another thing I have not mentioned in this, well, the second time I'm doing this. Here we are right here. I'm actually doing this as we speak. But one thing I've been doing besides all that, I had to take my medicine. Is that nighttime medicine, mind you. What I've also been doing, as far as that is concerned, well, it's just been just quite a lot of things I have been doing, and it has been very tiresome. But as I stated before, if I can get into, if I can pull an accomplishment from this, if anything, if I can get into the industry just by being a voice actor, well, that to me is an accomplishment within itself, because I'm not only going to be like the first author in the family, but also a voice actor as well. So that means artists. So that'd be something, as far as me is concerned. I'm doing this for the betterment of me. That's what it all really comes down to. It is for my betterment to be something more than I am. And the thing about it is, how YouTube is. I see YouTube as, for me, it's my workplace. And I work alongside everyone who is doing the same thing as I am. Just the only thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to break my ass for the enjoyment of other people. And that's another thing I haven't stated earlier. Well, I'm not going to go into that, because that can be stated in a Tenkai Talk video. As well as something. I remember I did this on the original, but I was going to save it for a Tenkai Talk video. And it was something that 40 did a while back, at least about a month or so. I think it was just a month or so. And it was about some people, and one of the former members of Full House got in trouble for it, because it was supposed to be something for charity, but it got blown straight to hell open and back. I don't know all details, and pretty much I don't care, because it's Hollywood. And you know how Hollywood is? It's Holly weird. It's always been Holly weird. It's never gonna be more than that. So, for what it's worth, it is what it is. But for the most part, like I said, I'm gonna say that for a Tenkai Talk video because I did it in the original May update video. So therefore, when I post this, and pretty much it's gonna be posted in a few minutes because I originally did the update video an hour before Mother's Day, and now that it's Mother's Day, well, it's gonna be a Mother's Day video as well as a May update. So there you have it. So you got 2 for 2, and there you go. So oh, I did not cover what's going to be for Kamikame this year. This year, huh? Silly me. Anyway, for Kamikame this year, we're going to have the following: something new, along with a few things I'm going to cover as far as reviews go. And I'm going to cover the reviews. I'm just going to share what I'm going to share, what I'm going to do as a review. And starting off with one of the DVDs I ordered for myself, and another one is coming in this week. Now, one of the DVDs is an OVA of a series I watched over the course of a few weeks back, because I've been watching a bit of old school anime from the 90s and the late 80s, early 90s, early to mid 90s. And one of them happened to be a series that was co-created by Kazuo Koike. And if you've never heard of him, you have never heard of the series called Crying Freeman. He was the co-creator of that OVA, as well as another well-known series that I did a Let's Play last year. It was an arcade game based off the manga and series of the same title called Lone Wolf and Cub. And he, along with Monkey Punch, and if you don't know who Monkey Punch is, that means you do not know of Lupin Sensei, or Lupin the Third. Lupin the Third was basically his Phoenix. It was basically that. Monkey Punch and Kazuo Koike, pardon, both those two passed away from the same illness, which is pneumonia. And I decided, well, I do have something of Lupin that I can cover as far as, say, as many of the Lupin's, all the Lupin stuff that has been out, like the series is still ongoing, the movies, and a few video games based on Lupin the Third. But I think, for the most part, I am going to go with either the series or one of the movies, and use it as a basis for a tribute to Monkey Punch. Of course, I already played the theme song on my channel before, which technically, it's Lupin the Third. How can you not love Lupin the Third? So, that goes without saying, show respect where all credit's due. Aside from that, and I do mean aside from that, I have a few books I have to cover because I've been doing quite a bit of light reading as well over the course of a few months back, and I want to cover it. For two, they are both Zelda manga, and one is based off the Minish Cap and the highly acclaimed Linked to the Past, and they're both done by different artists. So I will be covering those versions of The Legend of Zelda. Not in Let's Play format, but I will be reviewing both books, as well as, the whole story and how it's based off the game and all that. But, aside from that, I also have another book I have to read and another series I have to finish. Namely, I have recently bought The Record of Lotus War by Ryo Mizuno. And it's the book based on which basically was based off the anime and the OVA of the same title. There's also a video game, a couple of video games based off that for the Super Nintendo and the Dreamcast. But again, I will cover that when the time comes down the road. Another review I plan on covering is based off a movie I recently saw in a stream, and that's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, not Enter. Even though that should be Enter the Spider-Verse, but probably the next one we could call Enter the Spider-Verse. I don't know, but it'll be Spider-Man Spider-Verse. I'll use the Japanese title. Saves time that way. Yeah, I will be covering Spider-Man Spider-Verse. Another movie I have seen, and I have words for that one, would be Black Panther. I've seen that as well. Digital download. I've seen that. Like I said, I do have words for it because I'm just not gonna be nice at all about it. I know it's a Marvel character, but my God, it just had so many overtones. It just made me nearly want to just turn into a Tasmanian devil after seeing it. I'll explain why later in the review anyway. Yes. Oh man. Oh. Like I said, I got a few things I want to cover as far as films and books are concerned, as well as the games. Ah, yes, the games I got planned lined up for the upcoming summer project. For the first time in a long time that I've actually been doing this for quite a while, I also found out that there was a fan translation of City Hunter. Now, City Hunter is one of those anime that basically is underrated as all get out because not too many people know about City Hunter unless you've actually watched it in raw format or you've seen it on YouTube with proper subs. And since Jump Force came out quite some time back, it is one of the very few anime that the rest of the world do not even know about. And there has been and there's so much and so little that people do know about City Hunter. And one of the things I have on hand that I found out was one of my friends on Twitter, and I'm sub to him. His name is Filler. I found out that there is a fan translated version for the PC Engine of City Hunter. Now I have like 3 or 4 different types of games that are fan translated for the TurboGrafx 16. One I don't think actually works because I've tried pressing start. I don't think it actually works, but I can try again. And one of the games I have are Bubblegum Crash, which is based off of Bubblegum Crisis, Tower of Druaga, My Son Ikoku, and the fourth now being City Hunter. And for what it is worth, I've only played up to 2 levels. I have not played the 3rd level, but like I said, it's one of those games I sometimes play on the side when I'm not really doing much of anything. But I will be doing it this year since I'm not entirely certain how many levels this game actually has. Well, we're gonna find out together as I'm gonna partially play it blind. And yeah, you're gonna see pretty much everything that just seems perverted about Rio Saiba, the city hunter. But it is gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun game to play. Another game I plan to bring back, and a lot, and there's gonna be a few of them that I'm just gonna bring on out that are gonna be finished. Will be Princess Minerva. I stopped because of the summertime, and a lot of things were coming in, and a lot was happening. So that's another reason why I will be continuing and pretty much finishing Princess Minerva for the Super Famicom, aka SNES. The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, and this time I will be playing the PS2 version, and I'll be picking up where I last left off on the GameCube version. Because I think I excel more on the PS2 version than the GameCube version because you have more buttons to choose from. And for the GameCube, you don't have that many buttons to choose from as far as all the attacks you do. As far as lifting and throwing is concerned, and catching and all that, you need a button for everything. Then the GameCube version didn't have that many as far as throwing and whatnot was concerned. So I'll be finishing that alongside the Punisher for the PS2. Now, like I said again, because of everything that was going on last year, it's been crazy, hectic, and all that. By the time everything should be finalized, well, I would have time to breathe, time to actually do some, actually finish my projects and get them done. So, for the most part, that I am doing them, it will be a big sigh of relief just to get those games done and knock them square off my PC. So those will be three games that I will pretty much consider coming back to and finishing, as well as the Tenkai projects that I have been putting on hold because of everything else I've been, I mean, aside from Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens, I still have Shuffle, I still have Clannad, I still have Tales of Symphonia, based off of PS3 version, as well as what I've been working on in on my PS4 backlog, Tales of Vesperia. Now, like I said, I'm using this mic for my PS4. So, like I said, the feedback is going to be quite strange, quite weird. If it is, my apologies. But like I said, my snowball mic has just went, and that's what happened, and that's what leads to here. So aside from that, um, Let's Plays are going to continue as normal. Like I said, I'm going to be really, really just seeing how it's all going to go down as far as feedback is concerned. So hopefully there's no real change in it. And if there is, apologies. Until I get another mic or continue using what I got or putting everything on hold, we'll pretty much be on wait. But for the most part, rip Snowball Mike, you have done your duty and done it well. I probably will get an updated version of my 360 controller, most likely an Xbox One controller, because apparently the controller that I thought was going to replace the Xbox 360 controller was not meant to be. In comparison, and say nope, and basically said, "Son, back the fuck up. You do not realize what kind of power I have, let alone what I'm capable of doing." And suddenly, for some God only knows reason, the EPS 4 controller just went and the 360 version, the 360 PC controller is now up and about. So that is a lot. But aside from that, gosh. So yeah, as far as the Tenkai project goes, yeah, I'm gonna go back to Earthbound and the Super Robot Tyson Gaiden, and I still have one in backlog, which is going to be number 2 on the list. Mind you, Cybuster is basically special, so therefore it's Tenkai Project S, which means special. So the second Tenkai project is going to be Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. And I've only started, but I've actually gone through a lot of adjusting with it, so therefore when you see the final project of it, you will see the game as it is. And hopefully it doesn't slog down too much. But aside from that, just like I said, I've been totally extra busy. But for what it's worth, it's a good kind of busy. Really, it really is. It is that good kind of busy that I like. As far as where I am, as far as career wise, I'm just about there, leading my career. And possibly a little bit is going to change at a time. Namely, my setup, my audio setup might change. My room as well. Get it probably, possibly more, soundproof it. I don't know, possibly after, maybe, I don't know. Maybe if for some reason I want to get it changed and whatnot, I will more than likely say I want my room soundproof. That depends. You realize this house is about almost 100 years old. Really, it's like this. This house was built in 1920. I've been living in this house for 40 years, and 1 year from now it's going to be 100 years old. This house itself, Tenkai House, which I lovingly call it, lovingly dub it, will would be 100 years old. It will be just that. It'll be decades old. So that says a lot. Oh, another thing. Like I said, I'm gonna bring back Tenkai Project in a couple of weeks from now. Still gonna work on it, just like I said, when things kind of slow down a bit. I might add another comic to it. I might add another comic project to the list. I might as well. It's more than likely gonna be The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead is something I worked on, and since the series is pretty much finished, I'm just only going to stick with the mainstream story. I'm not going to go to the New Frontier or Mission. I'm not going to go through all that. I was going to do Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, but apparently it acts all weird and funky, and I don't know, just I don't know, just it's weird. It's totally weird. I I mentioned this in my previous update video, but like I said, concerns about streaming. The only two games I feel I'm going to use as a means for streaming, and I more than likely will do it sometime soon when I have all the other parts up, are going to be the Yakuza games, namely Yakuza 0 and Fists of the North Star Lost Paradise. Because I don't think I mentioned this, and if I mention this, my sincerest apologies for repeating. But apparently, I can record everything except for getting to the last part of the game. And for the last part of the game, it's just basically blocked. And either I would have to replay the game over, which would make no goddamn sense as to why I would have to want to do that just to record it, or I can try something like stream it. So the choice is obvious. The finale of both games will be streamed. Because I figure I might as well try something. Because I don't like leaving a game finished on a console which shouldn't have too much trouble in actually streaming the final parts of the game. So pretty much, I'm gonna try streaming the final parts of that. As far as stream, and as well as streaming, going back to streaming on a weekend basis, because I'm not gonna have time during the week. As far as streaming is concerned in general, well, know this: if I do stream, they're most likely gonna be chill streams, and for the most part, I'm gonna try my damnedest to do it on Twitch, if not on YouTube. And more likely have a better audience. More likely, besides the people you already know, and for you guys out there who do show up on my streams, well, it would be nice to see some different faces show up aside from the usual suspects. I'm not saying that I don't appreciate you. I do. I really do. But new blood. That's all. Basically, some people who never even heard of me. Yeah. Or you've heard of me, but you've never seen me in action. Because on Discord I'm just Izzy, but they don't know I'm the Tenkaichi. What's funny is I showed off my Japanese name to my class yesterday, and it was Friday, and my teacher was looking at me and she said, "What does that mean?" I said, "Tenkaichi." Well, could you make sure you write that down? Because I don't want it to mean something that's like negative or something like that. I'm like, well, guys, you don't know what Tenkaichi means? Okay. Next time I do that, I'll pretty much make it in big bold print, and underneath that will be the name and its definition. So it's something. It's always a change, and it's a good kind of change. I know this is a pretty long update video because, like I said, making up for lost time with what happened. Another thing I'm just going to add to it, and I'm just going to say this right now, I'm going to add more Chest of Obscurity videos. Most likely, I'll just be doing a lot of backlog and just making sure that, whatever happens with this mic, it runs the way it's supposed to run. Not to mention, I will try and see if I could get my old mic back up and running, but if not, then, But that goes without saying, it is what it is, and it happens and happens. So, whatever else. Anyway, from what I'm looking at, is almost like an hour on this. And since it is Mother's Day, and this will probably be the last time I actually say this because after all this time, it has been 1 year since my mom has passed on. I shall say this, and I'm going to let go. But good night, Mom. And to extend that thank you for helping me become the man I am today. I'm actually glad that I have not become a statistic like so many other people I've seen during this lifetime just end up becoming a statistic. I'm actually something more. And I'm actually becoming something better than what is because of such stupidity as color and whatnot. So with that, thank you, Mom. And good night, and I'll see you when I get there. Hopefully it won't be too soon. And to my friends out there, for those who still have your moms, every day for them should always be a Mother's Day, not just this one day, not just this moment in time, but for every person. Understand my voice. Y'all still have a mom? You tell them, as long as they're still living, how much you love them, how much you appreciate them. Give them a hug, a kiss, hold them tight, give them a good squeeze, but don't squeeze too tightly. But give them a good squeeze. Let them know that they are loved and appreciated. Let them know that you are so glad that you are worth being worried about. No matter how old you are, it is always something to basically say thank you for actually caring about me, for actually giving a damn about me, for actually worrying about me, and most importantly, for loving me. That's the only thing I can say about that. And for those who are mothers, every day, as I said, should be a Mother's Day for you. You've done so much. You've nurtured us. You brought us into this world. And you taught us well from right and wrong, of what right and wrong is, as well as the fathers, and in advance, happy Father's Day. But if not for that one touch of humanity to which all mothers are naturally gifted in doing, to make sure that we don't turn into monsters, but we walk with grace and pride in our hearts, I had to say thank you for not turning us into monsters, for making sure we have benevolence in our hearts as well as our minds, to know what good and evil, right and wrong is, to make sure we see that line in between both, and we make sure to respect that line. So with that, I want to wish each and every one of you out there a great and wonderful happy Mother's Day. And like I said, don't let this one day in life be your only Mother's Day. But, treat it as what it should be. A day to appreciate life. So with that, I'm going to change things up with my ending. So with that, I've been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi Ichigo Musuko. And to that, I will leave you off with one word. Tinsel! And with that, I wish you a very wonderful weekend, and I shall see you next time for more great content. So until then, see you next video, and have a great, wonderful weekend. And Tenkai Muso!